So you've just spent a couple of $1,000s on a motorbike, got your license, and you've hit the road. Wind's in your face, you're experiencing awesome roads, nice scenery. It's giving you enjoyment, even just to ride to the shops. And you sit down and you look at your parked up bike and it brings you joy. It makes you happy just looking at it. Then all of a sudden, one day, you realise you've got a big scratch down the side of it. And it's just taking away that feeling. Well, this is my friend's bike, and this bike doesn't have a scratch in it because she knows someone that watches custom spray mods. In this video, I'm going to show you how to fix a scratch on your motorbike, and you can do it at home. Okay, so the part of the bike that's scratched is just a straight solid colour. There's no metallics or pearls in there, so it's just straight white. Now I could just go to the shop and get a $10 can of spray paint, sand it and spray that on. But that type of paint isn't going to be solvent resistant. So in this video I'm just going to show you a type of spray can that is solvent resistant and is basically exactly the same as the factory finish but in a spray can. So we're going to use that kind of can on this job, which means you don't need a spray gun, you don't need a spray booth, you can do it at home and still get the factory finish. So check it out, it's going to be great. Now it's time to remove any parts that I can. I'm going to take these side plastics off, which is going to make it easier to repair. I'm not going to take the frame off, I'm just going to leave that on and mask around it. Okay, so I've got the part that's all scratched, I've got it off the bike. I'm ready to start repairing it. Before I do that, I'm going to go to the paint shop and get some colour. I'm going to match the paint to this just to make sure it's correct. So I'm going to head over to VG Auto Paints, get my colour matched up, and they can put it in a spray can for me. So yeah, let's do it. So most of the time, motorcycles don't have paint codes, or if they do, they're not formulated by the paint company. So you need to take in a part of the bike and get it matched. Good thing at VG Auto Paints, they've got a whole heap of colour samples, but can also match by eye. As you can see, there's quite a few different whites, so it's important to make sure you get the right one. If we just got a can off the shelf, it would have been completely wrong. So when we colour match a colour, we're only getting as close as possible. It's never going to be exactly the same. When we're using a spray can, the paint doesn't lay down the same as from factory, but it's going to be so close you wouldn't even notice. This colour has some black in it and a little bit of yellow. It gets pumped into a 2K aerosol. Then we need to activate that can to mix the two parts and spray it on the job. So while you're at the paint shop, you can get a few things like sanding blocks, sandpaper, some masking tape and some plastic or paper, and also some primer. Because I'm painting plastic parts, I'm using bumper bar primer. Now I'm ready to go. I'm sanding this steep scratch out using 80 grit sandpaper, making sure to just keep sanding until that scratch is completely gone. Same with the frame, we have to make sure we can't feel it with our hands. Once we've sanded the scratch completely out, we're going to go from 80 grit, 120 grit and 240 grit. Finally, sanding the surrounding area with 400 grit or a sanding sponge. Now I've taped up and put plastic on the rest of the bike and I'm ready to spray my primer. First I'm going to clean it with wax and grease remover, making sure it's nice and clean. As the frame has metal showing, I'm using an etch primer over that part, and the plastic part will use a plastic bumper bar primer. And this sticks to plastic and it's got a high build to help fill any low spots from that scratch. So I've sprayed 3 coats, waiting 10 minutes between coats, and allowed it to dry for 45 minutes. Now I'm sanding with 600 grit or the fine sanding sponge. Then all I have to do is clean it and I'm ready for paint. Okay, so we've sanded out the scratch. I've sprayed the primer, let the primer dry and sanded the primer. Also masked up the area, making sure I don't get paint on the bits that I don't want paint to get on. Now I'm ready to spray my paint. This is a 2K solid, which means it's direct gloss, so it's glossy straight from the can. Unlike clear over base, this is an all-in-one top coat. It's going to have nice gloss and protection. It's going to be solvent resistant, and I mean this is the best way to get a great factory finish from a can. So once we activate the can, we're going to mix the two parts together. It's going to start to go off, and you have anywhere from a day to a week before it goes hard in the can. So make sure you have all the parts ready to paint, so you get it all done at once. Yeah, so it's sanded, it's clean, masked. Let's paint it. Now it's time to activate the can. I'm going to take the red button off the top of the lid, put it at the bottom of the can and push it up. This activates the can and crates the two parts together, mixing the chemicals. Now it's ready to go. So I'm going to spray 3 coats over the job, and my first coat is going to be a little bit light. I want to make sure I don't get runs or build it up too much. If I start trying to get it to look amazing from the first coat, you risk putting too much product on there and you'll get drips. So the first coat can be a little bit lighter, the second and third coats can be a bit closer and a bit slower. Well, there you have it. We have this bike back to a factory finish. It's a 2K factory gloss finish, which means it's going to be solvent resistant. It's going to be pretty hard to scratch again. I mean, if we just use a cheap can of aerosol, 1, it wouldn't match, and 2, it wouldn't be very strong, and 3, it wouldn't be very glossy. So yeah, we've done the right thing. We've used the right type of paint, and you know, we did it at home. Didn't take long, and the job looks really good. I mean, yeah, the bike looks amazing again. I can look at it and I'm not focusing on that scratch, whereas before that was all I could look at. So yeah, if you want to be that person to make someone happy and rejuvenate, bring back to life someone's pride and joy, then this video was hopefully going to help you do that. And that's what this channel is all about. So check out my other videos, hit subscribe, click the bell, and I'll see you next time. Next time on Custom Spray Mods, I'm repairing and painting this 1988 GSXR 750. It's getting a crazy candy paint job. All the logos are being painted. It's getting a nice coat of clear. It's going to look awesome. Don't miss it.